Hi again.
Hey, we're back. Week 3.
Week 3. Hopefully you heard our new intro by our friend Gabe.
If we have uploaded it when we have uploaded this. We're still working on things.
Yeah,
We're still trying to put everything together.
I guess the video's not going to have the music upload. But the podcast
it
could, but I don't know what it would be. Like what the visual would be. It'd just be you and I staring at the camera until the music stops. All right.
Last week though, we have to say a little
Yeah.
We video recorded the podcast in addition to the audio, but we haven't figured out yet how to put that all together. So we just have the audio up, right?
Yeah.
So the video is coming, right? You're still gonna put the video up at some point?
Sure.
Now that I put you on the spot, I thought that's what you had said.
No, I was just gonna give up on it, but yes, I can attempt. I can attempt to do that.
So no promises. We're still working on
No
it.
promises.
And hopefully this episode 3 will have both audio and video and on YouTube and on Spotify. No, SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, yeah.
What do I know about these things?
I don't know. What do you know?
Apparently not very much. Anyway, we're still working on things. This is new to us, both.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we do have a sound engineer now.
You.
No, Gabe.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Florida man.
Florida man. Shout out to Gabe.
Yeah. So what are we going to be talking about this week?
This week last week we got questions and that we're answering this week about what do we do that's missions here, because we realized actually not everybody knows what we do that's missions work.
Nope.
And that's okay. One reason I don't talk a lot on Facebook about being a missionary is that so many of my friends here in Japan are my friends on Facebook, and I don't want them ever to feel like they're a project or they're my pet, mission project. So I don't.
Yeah, they have their shields up.
Yeah, no, I want it to be genuine relationships. So that's why we're not as vocal like on Facebook about things that we do. But we do send out a newsletter. I'm not so great at putting it out there, but we do that. And then trying to communicate a little bit more about our missions life here. So, what do we do?
I'm sorry. I'm really distracted by this cup of tea. This is really good tea.
Wait, is it cool enough to drink? So good.
Man, I love this. This is really good tea. Anyway, what was the question? I was super distracted. I don't know. I was just like, oh man, this is good. Sorry.
So you could just drink tea and I'll just talk. Because that's probably what we're best at.
That sounds like the best plan.
That's what we're best at.
Me drinking tea and you talking. Cheers.
Did you even hear like my little segue into this?
Sorry. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. This is really good tea. This is Good Earth.
The original blend.
Oh, is this original blend? Yeah, this is Good Earth original blend black tea. Man, just cinnamony.
Not a sponsor.
A little bit of sweet. Not a sponsor. Cinnamony and a little bit of sweet.
Yes.
It's good to have a nice hot cup of tea after a long day. We should probably get back into the podcast.
You're ADHD mode right now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's good tea.
Okay. Not gonna lie.
And my mug from Phoenix, Arizona that I bought, gosh, when I was 13. Sorry.
Okay,
23 years ago?
13. No, 23.
20. Sorry.
Is it my turn now? Yes.
You talk. I'll drink.
I'll talk. You drink. The reason I think that we would identify ourselves as missionaries is that we are tent maker missionaries, which means that we're not supported or sent by a specific agency or denomination.
We do get some help, some financial help, a little bit.
We've got 2 supporters in the States, which
but
is
it's more, but it's more like.
But that's not what makes us missionaries.
Yeah, we're not. Those places don't. I mean, one of them is our friend, a family.
How about I finish talking? Anyway, that's not what makes us missionaries. That's just where one of the definitions falls into place. But we serve our church, Hope Chapel, and we do things that support their efforts in bringing the gospel. I help with children's ministry, and Carl has done sound and tech. We do help with special events. And Carl, you also teach an English lesson, which you're able to incorporate a lot of witnessing.
I wouldn't say a lot.
But more than if you weren't like in the church setting, you know.
Yeah, I'm a little bit freer
to
talk about to talk about Christianity. They know that I'm Christian. They've asked me about Christianity, but I wouldn't say that I've ever shared the gospel, as it were, with them.
Sure. So we help Hope Chapel. We support our church, and then we also do what we would do if we were in the States and build relationships and share what the Lord has done in our lives, what the Lord is doing in our lives, and why our faith is important. In the relationships that we have here, one of my English students, I teach her by Skype. She's 70, I think. She's one of my favorite people. And she's constantly asking me questions about our family, why we are still here in Japan. Isn't life really difficult for us? What do we do when we face challenges? Why did we adopt kids with special needs? And all of these things. And she's so open to hearing about our faith. And I try to be very bold about that with her because she has asked questions. So I know that she's open. And my mom friends around town, friends online, I just try to show them who Jesus is, the difference that he makes in my life, and why I am the way I am. And so our mission here, if we had to pick like a vision, like a mission statement, would be to know Christ and to make him known. I think.
And I think that that's what you put on our banner. Yeah.
Is because we want to know Jesus in this context, because doing Christianity in the East is different than doing it in the West. So we want to know him in a more full way here, and then we also want to make him known. We don't have like a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan or a vision for like this is what we're going to be accomplishing.
Right.
It's more living day by day, trying to live in obedience, trying to live in faith. And when the Lord brings opportunities our way to like adopt again, hopefully, or support friends with kids with special needs, or help at a special event at our church, our goal is to be open and just say yes and to serve in those ways. So that's like the summary, a long summary.
Yeah.
Do you want to add? Now that you're done with your tea.
I'm not done with my tea.
Is it my turn?
I'm savoring this tea.
Okay, I'm going to drink my tea now and give it over to you.
I'm afraid that this podcast is going to be you and I just drinking tea.
Tea with the O'Briens.
For the next 14 minutes.
Tea with the O'Briens.
Just both very quiet. I'll put my tea down. Yeah, I think expanding on that, expanding on that.
Go for it.
Evangelism is done differently here than it is in the West.
Yes.
Fundamentally, the reason that it's different, I think, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, is that Japan, specifically, Asia in general, does not have the same history that the West has, because the West has been steeped, defined, and enveloped by Christianity. We have so much of Western thought comes from Christian thought.
Yeah, Judeo-Christian.
It is inarguable how vital Christianity has been to the West. In fact, this is a completely separate topic that I won't go too far into.
Mm-hmm.
But I would even make the argument that a lot of what we're seeing today in the West could not have happened in any other country. And I'm talking about the bad stuff. The bad stuff that's happening in the West could not have happened unless Christianity had been there before. That's a completely different topic.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever talk about that because it is.
It's not really pertinent to.
Anyway,
the podcast.
Christianity has just Western thought and Christianity are just inseparable. Eastern thought, having very little, if any, contact with Christianity, historically, has not developed even the same vocabulary words.
Like
there's no word for sin as we would define sin in Japanese.
In Japanese, there's no word that we would for the concept that we have in the West.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So just clarifying a little bit.
The concept is very foreign.
Literally.
The idea that there is an objective standard, objective truth, objective morality that is not dependent upon people is very foreign to the Japanese mind. Japanese morality, as an example, is based upon the herd mentality, the group, and you don't see things change until a lot of people complain about it, and then suddenly it's bad. Up until recently, I would say 6 years ago, Amazon Japan sold child pornography on its site. Why did it change? A bunch of people complained. When you're a missionary and you then go to a Japanese person and you're like, you've committed sin against God, you should repent, it's just noise to them.
Yeah, there's
no idea what you're talking about.
There's no context for that.
Yep.
There's no there's no meaning in those words. There's nothing for them to pull from. But we're still learning. Like, we are not experts on evangelism in Japan. We're not experts on Eastern ways of thinking at all. Like, we are still, after 9+ years, still brand new at this and still learning.
Because we didn't grow up in this Eastern context.
Yeah.
So we're coming at it from an outside perspective. I would say it's the perspective closer to reality than the Eastern perspective because it's based upon Christianity. But there's still things that we pull from Eastern thought that we appreciate. The Japanese people are very, in a very real sense, they're very others-oriented. You don't do anything wrong unless you're doing something wrong by someone else. And that awareness of other people's feelings and your societal obligations to that other person, I think, has faded a lot in the West. But anyway, that said, so when, for example, a church decides to send out a missionary group to South America, well, South America has been as much affected and is as much based upon Christianity as American culture is.
Well, we don't know that because we never lived
there. I'm saying because they both had the same root in Europe.
Some. There's a lot of indigenous stuff that's there too.
Okay. There's a lot of indigenous stuff.
You're making guesses. No, you are my educated scholar. I shouldn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
What I was saying is that due to Catholicism, South American culture has the same vocabulary, the same concepts.
That's true.
That has already been introduced into their culture. So when a missionary group goes down to South America, they at least can speak roughly the same religious language, with the same religious concepts and things. But you send a short-term missionary team to Japan, nothing's going to happen. No one's getting saved.
Because Japan is all about relationships in a way that the West isn't. Because here, relationships are built on your place in society, where you are socially,
Your
and
obligations to
obligations to others, and then also they take a very, very, very long, intentional time. You're not going to be best friends with someone in a week or even 3 years.
Yeah.
I have friendships that I'm grateful for that have lasted this long because they are just different
Mhm.
than in the West. And they stay surfacey for a long time. They stay not shallow. I wouldn't say shallow because Japanese people are not
Yeah.
shallow, but they don't delve into deep things, and you don't open up your heart.
Yeah.
Quickly or soon in a relationship. And so,
And by quickly or soon, we don't mean months. We mean years.
like in America, I can strike up a conversation with someone, find out that we have stuff in common, both share stuff about our backgrounds, and then friend each other on Facebook, and then be best friends like in a few days.
Mhm.
That can happen. Not going to happen here. And so reaching a deep level of relationship intimacy is going to take a very long time, and needs to be done sensitively and deliberately and with a lot of love and grace. And so to share Jesus in that context is going to take a long time, and it's going to look different.
Mm-hmm. And what we've learned is that when it even comes to talking to Japanese people about Christianity and about their life, there is a kind of cultural barrier there where they'll look at a foreigner like me and go, "Oh, that's really great for you."
Mm-hmm. That's great for you.
As an American,
Mm-hmm.
it's fantastic that you have Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm Japanese, and Japanese people don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with marriages. I tell Elizabeth that I love her every day, and I kiss her, and people are just shocked. They're just amazed that I do that.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's always this kind of like shrug, like, "Oh yeah, Americans do that. Japanese not so much."
And that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, that's as far as it goes. So there's also that barrier that's there, which is why we don't evangelize in the missionary sense. We're not going out to, talk to Japanese people about Jesus.
Like on street corners.
Like on street corners and stuff like that.
Rallies or revivals.
Yeah.
No.
Which is why we specifically decided that we would support the local church.
Yes, because it's Japanese pastors. Our pastors are Japanese. Mm-hmm. The church was founded by a Swedish missionary a long, long time ago, but has since been handed over to Japanese pastors. And so we want to be support. We don't want to be front runners.
We can't be front runners. No one's going to listen to us.
Well, even if they do, it's going to just be superficial. It's not going to make an impact. Or
almost academic.
So we want to take that support role and let our pastors lead.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do what it takes to help the mission of the church succeed. Mm-hmm. And we try to share stuff from church and our mm-hmm. pastor to like show you this is what's happening, and it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's, I guess, what we do. That's what we do.
That's
to answer the question.
That's why we would say we are tent maker missionaries in Japan.
Tent maker, local church supporting missionaries. Yeah.
It's not complicated or anything.
No, not at all. But then personally, we're also, this is where we live.
Yeah.
This is our home.
Yeah.
And we're doing things that we would if we were still living in America. Mm-hmm. I go to work full time. Elizabeth makes friends. We go to church. We support our church. Our kids go to school.
We live life.
Yeah, we live as we would back in America. So that's the other thing, is that we're not we're not missionaries in the sense that we're, blazing any trails.
No, we're not
Maybe
pioneers.
maybe a little bit with the special needs support that you've kind of been doing with your Facebook groups.
But even that is more just helping people
Yeah.
relationship. Like,
Still relationship building, but it's also something that's not done a whole lot in Japan.
I'm not doing it to be a pioneer. I'm
No.
just doing it because
You saw a need and you decided to fill that.
because I need that group too.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, so we're not in the classic sense like
Yeah.
pioneer missionaries by any means, and we don't want to be. We
Yeah.
want to let our light shine. We want to be salt and light.
Mhm.
We want to be hands and feet. All of the spiritual metaphors that we
Yeah.
can pull in here.
What would, is it asking you a question? How do you think we would do anything differently if we were full-time supported missionaries? What do you think we would do differently, if anything?
If we were full-time supported by an
Yep.
like
If
fully,
a church,
fully funded.
Yep, if we were fully funded.
I think we would be able to divvy up caring for the kids,
Mhm.
and then have more freedom to adopt more kids.
Mhm.
I think ultimately that's the direction I want to head in, is to adopt more kids, because there's so many babies who are waiting,
Mhm.
and a lot of them have Down syndrome, and then so I think that we would be freed up to.
Would you want to do anything? Would you want to do anything else other than just adopt if we were full-time missionaries? Because you've talked about starting up a special needs school.
I talk about a lot of things that I have ideas for and dreams for. I would love to make like a community center.
Specifically for kids with special needs?
No, for
just general.
A community center where there's like a mama cafe and kids enrichment place, and
by the way, a mama cafe is
a space where moms can relax and have hot coffee and tea, and their kids can be in the same vicinity playing, because moms here don't get a break very often. So I would love to make a community center where, like, we have people with disabilities and neurotypical people interacting, and there's kids enrichment activities that would benefit both. Where we could do Bible stories, where we could do English lessons and crafts, where we could have parent support. Like, I would love to have a community center. I would love that, but that would take a team. I can't do that by myself.
It would be a big team.
Yeah, I have lots of ideas and things, but I think like the immediate thing would be adopt more, and get them the medical help that they need, the developmental help that they need, integrate them into society as contributing members of society. That's like the immediate one, the one that I could see happening practically and soon. But like a community center, need a team to do that.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
I would love to. We could open a business where people with disabilities can be employed and not get stuck in workshops.
So it would still be more of the support.
It would be a team effort. I don't want to do anything by myself.
Right. But what I mean is like you're still looking to support people.
Yeah, I want to help people.
You wouldn't be making, like, you wouldn't. It wouldn't be freeing you up to do more street evangelism.
No.
Or something like that. But it would still be more like adding adding services and support for
equipping
families.
People.
Yeah,
I'd love to keep equipping people.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
And you would be kind of like the overall kind of idea person who then recruits people to help you with executing these ideas.
Well, I haven't even got that far.
Right. I'm just just kind of exploring one idea. If we were ever to be fully supported, that'd be an idea. Yeah.
So anyway, so that's our definition, I guess, of ourselves.
and a future hope too.
Lots of dreams and ideas and hopes, and
Yeah.
I never stop. I never stop asking the Lord what's next to clarify our vision. I pray that a lot,
Mhm.
that our vision would be clarified so that we know exactly what we're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And so much of it is just daily obedience. I think a
Mm.
lot of Christians from our generation were told God has a specific plan for your life, and it is going to result in this, like, thing. You will do this thing or be this in this role, and the daily obedience got neglected
Mm.
in being taught. It was
Interesting.
never emphasized, like, just be faithful
Mhm.
and obedient in living your life, and if you don't have a grand something at the end of your life, that's fine.
Mhm.
That was never emphasized. What
Mhm.
was emphasized was God has a plan for your life, and you're supposed to find out what it is, and you're not fulfilled until you get there.
Mm.
Maybe that was a Assemblies of God thing. I'm not knocking Assemblies of God because I still love them, but that's where my generation of Christians were taught, and so that tying that back to our life here, if there isn't a like one thing that we're supposed to do, but the thing that we're supposed to do is just walk in faithfulness and obedience and let our light shine, I am perfectly content with that.
Mhm.
Perfectly satisfied. If Jesus is glorified, that's all I need.
There you go.
It's about him.
That's a good.
So, as always, if you have questions, please
Message her.
message me or leave them on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is to try to get both audio and visual up.
Yep.
Audio and video, I mean.
Yep. So hopefully we'll have this video up. I don't know if we have a time within the next week.
Well, you're the tech
Within
guy.
the next week. You know, I've got a full-time job, and I also work outside the home, and in a full-time job. My full-time job being being a dad.
You are the best.
And
dad
then
ever.
and then my other full-time job being a teacher, and then full-time job being a husband.
Anyway.
Go back to sipping my tea.
Yes, you do that. So anyway, let us know if you have questions. We'll do our best to get this added soon.
Yep.
And we'll talk with you next week.
Yeah.
Bye, friends.
Bye.